Hi guys! So today I thought it might be a nice idea to talk you through how I use my badge machine to create special badge greetings cards. I've actually had my badge maker for around 4 years now, and I've only just started getting into making greetings cards with badges attached. It's something that I know a lot of people have questions about, so I thought it would be perfect to guide you all through the process. Let's jump in. This is actually my eBadges badge making machine, and it is the 58mm die. The great thing about eBadges is that if you can just see here that little pin in the middle, they create lots of different size dies that you can just switch in and out of the machine, so you don't have to buy separate machines each time. Although I call this a badge making machine, it doesn't just make badges. It makes key rings, magnets, bottle openers, compact mirrors, suction hook cups. There's all sorts of things that this amazing little gadget can make, but I mainly use it just for badges. I have experimented so much with different paper and media over the years, and I started out using plain paper and quickly realised that it didn't give the greatest finish. I now use the Cutz 115 GSM photo paper. Not only does it give a great quality print, but it's also thin enough to be able to piece it all together when you're making the badges. If you go too thick, then when you're actually pressing the badge, it's not going to stick together, and you may find that you've got a wasted blank. As always, I use Affinity Designer for all of my design work. I am actually going to include links in the description to my G Drive, where you'll be able to download the templates that I use in this video.
So as you can see, we have a large blue circle with a smaller black outline of the circle in the middle. The smaller black outline in the middle is actually going to be the design at the front of your badge, and the larger blue outline includes the part that wraps around the back to secure your badge when it's made. You can see the little checked marked background. This is just Affinity Designer telling you that this is on a transparent background, so that when you export it as a ping, you'll be able to just have the circle design with no white background beneath it. You need to make sure that the design for your badge stays completely within the black outline of the circle, as this is going to be the badge front. Although the design is currently set on a blue background, I just use this for my template, and this will be changed at a later date. You can play around in Affinity Designer until you're happy with your badge design. Once you're happy with the final design and layout of your badge, it's time to export it as a ping. So you'll need to firstly make sure that any text that is included on the design has been converted to curves, which will give you a nice crisp outline when printing. The most important step is to remember to delete the inner circle before you export your design. Then we're going to go up to the file box and export, and make sure that ping is selected, and then export the design to wherever you would like it and hit save.
You can either do it by hand with some scissors, or with a die cutter, or with a cutting machine. I always do mine with my Silhouette Cameo, so I'm going to show you how to do that, and I'll also drop a link below to a template for you to cut your own.
So as you can see, I've set up the template to actually fit on 8 badges, so this will be on a single A4 sheet. First of all, we're going to import in our design that we made earlier in Affinity, and that should be a ping file. So drag it onto the board. Next, we're going to right click and send to back, and then choose one of the circles and just place it roughly over. Select both and then center align. Now, I always like to do a few badges when they're personalised, just in case something goes wrong with one of them. So I'm going to group this design and then duplicate, and just usually do 2, but to just fill it up, I'm going to do 4. You can see how I stagger them like this to fit more designs on. That will give you the full 8 designs when you want to print. Next, we're going to go over to print. I will obviously be using my Canon IP8750 printer to print, but you would obviously need to select whatever you're using. Click more settings, and then we're going to use the settings that you'd use for photo, but we're going to turn off borderless printing, change the size to A4, and make sure that print quality is on high. Then press OK and print.
When you're printing, using the right kind of paper is extremely important. This is the printout when you use just a standard plain paper, As you can see, the colours are really quite dull, and there's also this kind of ink spread around the graphics. I'm not sure if it's going to focus so you can see. When you compare it to a glossy, it's completely different. So we've got some nice vivid images. There's none of that ink bleed on the prints. Let's just see if I can get a side by side. There we go. So there's quite a big difference in the print quality. I use Paper Cutz 115 GSM photo paper because for me it not only provides a great quality print, but it's also thin enough so that when you press it into the badge, it manages to crimp around the metal badge back and actually create the badge. If I was to use really thick cardstock or photo paper, then unfortunately it just wouldn't work. I've actually costed out Paper Cutz, and if you purchase their 115 GSM gloss photo paper, I'll drop the link down below. It works out at just under 1.7p per badge design, which is obviously not a lot at all. And as I've previously mentioned, I will include the template down below so you'll be able to fit 8 of those designs on a sheet. There's a lot of trial and error when it comes to cut settings for your silhouette cameo, but I will share with you mine and you can obviously test them out and tweak them if you need to. So I had a blade depth of 2 and a force of 15. Overcut was turned on, and because we're just cutting a simple circle, my speed was up to 10. We only need the one pass for this as it's quite a thin GSM. Sometimes these all cut perfectly, but it's always good to have a couple just in case one messes up, especially whilst you're pressing. So I'm going to take one of these now, and to make a badge you'll need the design, a metal disc, the back, and something called mylar. This is like a thin plastic sheet that goes over the top of your badge and protects it. You can also use the holographic stuff that I've used before for sticker making, but today we're going to use the traditional mylar. This stuff is super thin, and it's really important that when you use it, you only pick up one. If you pick up more than one, there is a good risk that you're going to get your badge machine jammed, and it is a bit of a nightmare to unjam. So the other important thing about mylar is to make sure you don't touch the middle, because that's where obviously fingerprints will go, and you don't want that stuck to the inside of your design. We're going to be making a 58mm design, so we make sure that the dies are completely in there. For this, I'm going to need a spacer, and this just goes into the bottom. First part I need is here. So can you see the groove there? That's where we're going to put that disc, obviously lip side down, so that grips that nicely. Then we're going to make sure that there's no dust or debris or glitter, in my case, on the design itself before we put it on. And then finally do exactly the same for mylar, making one final check that you've only got one there. We're then going to put the surround on. And this little guy here is what applies the pressure to the badge. First of all, we're going to do it in top hat style. So you can see the rim around the bottom makes it look like a little top hat. So we just need to put that on and swing it round. The most important thing about this step is pressure. You should be able to feel it go all the way to the bottom with no more give. Now we need to put down on the other side the badge back. You need to have it so that this little metal prong here is facing up towards you. Now I very carefully take the top hat part off, then try to carefully line the design up with the top of the badge. We're now going to press the spacer in and flip it the other way round. So I like to call this mushroom because it kind of looks like a little mushroom. So pop this in. This is going to be a little bit trickier now because you've got added bulk, so we really need to add extra pressure. I'm going to move the machine slightly so that I can press this down at a better angle for me. It should give a little satisfying crimp at the edges. You can just about hear, and then there should be no more give. the badge should be finished. If you were to use thick paper, then you wouldn't be able to get this crimping at the sides and tucking it under the badge back. As you can see, the top of the design is perfectly aligned with the back, so when it's worn, it will be the right way up. So obviously you can use whatever card size blank you would like. Because these have to go as large letter because of the amount that the badge sticks out, I'm going to use A5. It's a good size and it will allow me to show off the design for the card and also the 58mm badge. The large circle with the two smaller ones are where the badge itself is going to go. You need to make sure that the card design works well with the badge placement. Sometimes it's easier to take the badge design and actually place it within the card. That way you can make sure that all of the colours match when you're creating your design. Once you've created your design, you need to delete the larger circle but keep the two smaller ones. These will be printed out on the card. Don't forget to add any branding, and then it's time to print. So now our card design has been printed out and it's looking pretty cool. These two blue circles here are going to be punched out. This is actually where the badge itself is going to be secured. You can cut these holes out with a very steady hand and a scalpel, a cutting machine, or I like to use one of these. This is a single hole punch that I purchased from Amazon. As you can see, one end there is just a sharp circle, which when tacked on with a hammer, will just go through the card and create some nice clean holes. I'm going to drop a link to the set that I use. It comes in different sizes and you just need a bit of trial and error to see which one works the best with your badge blanks. Let me show you how to take those circles out. The biggest tip that I will give you is to make sure you put something down when you're knocking through these holes. This hole punch is extremely sharp and otherwise you're going to mark your mat or whatever surface you're cutting on top of. So take your card blank, line up the punch over the top. 2 sharp taps should be fine. As you can see, that's cleanly taken that out, and it's also taken out a bit of the media below. So that's gone through nicely on one side. I'll just show you the reverse. As you can see, it's taken it out nice and cleanly. Now we're going to thread the badge through. And ta-da! We have a badge perfectly aligned and very secure on the card. Before I forget, I should probably crease it. Creasing goes much easier if you do it when it's not with the badge in. But this is just to show you it can be done. I think these have turned out absolutely perfect. As you can see, I can shake it around and it's absolutely fine. This means that when it's going through the post, it's going to stand up to being mishandled by the postman. I have in the past used foam pads and sticky dots, and unfortunately, once my card got to the other end with the badge on, the badge was separated, which obviously isn't great for the customer. This way, it's completely secure and it leaves the card completely unmarked and ready to go. The great thing about this is that you can also do this when you're creating backing cards for your badges as well. I have this template here which is made out of a thinner material, and then I have these backing cards which are made out of a much sturdier 300 GSM paper Cutz card. When you pop that over the top, it gives you a nice guide of where you need to knock through, and then it means that you can send these perfectly secured in the post as well. That's definitely not coming off. So obviously this is a really versatile item. I've made it in a birthday card just to show you, but it doesn't have to be a birthday card. It can be pretty much anything. These make fantastic personalised gifts and just adds a little extra something. As usual, I've dropped links to absolutely everything that I've used in the description box down below. And as always, I'd like to say a great big thank you to Paper Cutz for sponsoring today's video. I recommend them because I love them. I've been using them since 2013, many years before I even started my YouTube channel. The great thing is at the moment they have a special offer on where if you spend over £29 you get 10% off your entire order and free postage. Definitely a good time to stock up. If you have any questions or if you're struggling to open any of the templates in the G Drive, let me know either by shooting me a message on Instagram or pop me an email. You can find all my details on my YouTube homepage. I really hope you've enjoyed today's video. I've had a great time recording it, and I want to thank each and every one of you that has hit that like button and subscribed for content. It really does help me, and we are so close to 2,000 followers. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!